Good morning. I hope you're doing well today. I'm joining you this morning to share my thoughts and perhaps provide some encouragement for you today. It is Wednesday morning, and we're excited about how God has blessed us with another good night of rest. I woke up this morning with two words on my mind that I want to share with you. One word is pray, and the other word is wait. I was thinking today about what is the only solution that we as believers have when we're going through a difficult time, when we find ourselves in circumstances or in a situation where we don't know what to do. What are we to do? I believe as Christians we have to pray and ask our God to help us, and then we also need to wait. In Psalm 25, I want to share just a couple of verses with you this morning that reminded me as I continue to put these thoughts together about the two words I'd had on my mind. The psalmist David, writing to and praying to the Lord in Psalm 25, begins in verse 1 like this: "Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not mine enemy triumph over me. Yea, let none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed which transgress without cause. Show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths. Lead me in thy truth, and teach me. For thou art the God of my salvation. For thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day." David was praying, and then David said, "I'll wait all day if I have to, Lord. I need your answer. I need you to take care of me." He was praying for protection. He was praying for God's help to protect him from the enemy. And he was praying also while trusting God and asking him to show him his ways, to teach him some things, to lead him in the way he'd have him to go and to teach him. Then he says, "On thee do I wait all the day." As I was thinking about praying and waiting, I thought of two illustrations that I might share with you this morning. Back in 1986 or 87, I was traveling over in Alabama. I had had a good day that day and had a good dinner and had settled into the motel room and was waiting to finish up some paperwork that I had to do and then to get into bed and get a good night's rest. I went to bed about 9 o'clock or 9:30, and about midnight I was awakened by what sounded like a fierce storm outside, thundering, lightning. And then as I lay there awake, I began to hear something I'd never heard before in my life. It sounded as though a freight train was coming right down the road, coming right to me. It got louder and louder and louder. All of a sudden, I realized that I had heard others say that's what a tornado's like. And I thought, oh my, I am right in the path of a tornado. I began to pray. That was a difficult situation. I began to pray. I said, "Oh God, please. I've never been in a tornado. I know they pick up buildings and they destroy property and they kill people. And I pray, Lord, that you will help me during this time. I pray, Lord, that you would protect me. I pray that you would allow that storm to turn and go another way, that we'd not be hurt through this time." As I prayed, then I began to wait. I will tell you that honestly, I do not remember anything else until I woke the next morning. Apparently, God had eased my mind, and I went to sleep. As I had breakfast and went out the next morning, I discovered that a tornado had indeed come through that area. I was in the area of Alabama called Tornado Alley, and there had been one come through. It lived up to its name that night. I learned that storm had touched down about a quarter of a mile south of my motel, that it came on to the north and then veered to the left for some reason towards the northwest and touched down again then another mile or so away. I was not hurt. The building I was in, there was much debris and a lot of limbs down, trees down, but I was not hurt. And I believe until this day that it was because I prayed and waited on God to deliver me. There was another situation occurred in 2004. Sandra and I were working at that time with the Bible Broadcasting Network in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were cleaning up, having a cleanup day around the offices. Sandra was helping in an office next door to mine, and a large desktop, glass desktop, had been taken off the desk and propped up against some chairs there in the office. And as she came in off the patio area, veranda area of that office, she did not see that glass and bumped into it, and it began to fall. Trying to catch it, she fell into it, and the glass shattered, and she was impaled just below her right hip with about a 7-inch piece of glass like a dagger. When I got over to the office, she was bleeding terribly, and it was obvious it was a critical situation. They would call first responders, and they arrived and began to prepare her for a trip downtown to Carolina Medical Center in Charlotte. She was literally bleeding to death. As we made that ambulance ride, I was in the front seat, and as they got Sandra on her way, I prayed continually, "Oh Lord, please protect Sandra." There were times when I knew that her life was in the balance. I prayed even harder, "Lord, don't let anything happen to my dear wife." And then I waited. I waited for a noontime traffic jam ride through Charlotte trying to get to the hospital. I waited once we got there as they rushed her into emergency and then on up to surgery almost immediately. And I was taken into a waiting room, and we sat and waited. I waited, and I waited, and I waited. I prayed again, often, "Lord, please take care of Sandra in this surgery. Please, Lord, your will be done. Lord, give the doctors wisdom." The things that we would normally pray. And then I waited, and I waited, and I waited. A couple hours later, a little over 2 hours surgery, they came down and said, "We think that she's going to be okay now. We have saved her life. She is going to be stable." We had to give her some blood because she had bled out, but we're thankful that she's going to be okay, we believe. And so that was another time when I had to pray and wait on God. And God again answered my prayer, and He protected my wife. As I thought about that, I thought about how important it is for each of us as God's children in these days to pray, to trust Him enough to pray and give Him our problems, and then wait on Him to answer our prayers and take care of the situation. I was reminded again this morning of another thought. Worrying will never do us any good. Someone has said, worry will not take away tomorrow's troubles. It'll only take away today's peace. So I found the best solution is to pray, trust God, and wait on Him, and He will deliver and answer in His will as He sees fit. I trust that'll be a little encouragement to you today. Maybe you're going through a tough time and you need to stop and pray and ask God to help you. Ask Him to lead you and teach you as the psalmist did, and ask Him to work it out so that you'll not be hurt or not harmed in any way. And He'll do what He sees is best for us. We know that. So pray and then wait on the Lord. Don't get ahead. Don't try to take care of it yourself. Let the Lord handle it. And watch how wonderfully, how marvelously even, He will take care of our problems and situations if we turn them over to Him. Have encouragement from that today, my friend, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. God bless you.